Hi, this is Max Graham, and we're here in Zurich for the Zurich Street Parade.
Hi Max, how you doing today?
Very good, how are you?
I'm fine. We're in Zurich right now. We drove through the city. We actually saw some outfits and we see some party people already. How excited are you right now?
I'm pretty looking forward to seeing all the madness out there. We've had a little bit of a taste of some of the outfits that people are wearing, but I can't wait to get out there and see it all in all its glory.
Did you have a good flight here?
Yeah, I sat in a chair. It was very exciting.
It was only about like 1 hour and 20 minutes, right? Compared to when you used to live in Montreal, right?
Yeah.
How's Amsterdam?
I love it. I love, traveling back to North America is quite easy. And then traveling within Europe is obviously, so easy living in Amsterdam. There's so many, cities and countries to play around Europe. So flying to Ibiza is very easy. Russia's only 3 hours away. So, from Canada, it's like unless I'm playing in the Northeast, it's everywhere is really far. LA's, 6 hours, Vancouver's 6 hours. So it was always a lot of long flying, kind of like what Nate goes through now living in Cape Town. So living in Europe makes it super easy, and it's, it's quite cheap to travel. It's quite, it almost feels more like just a day trip. I just carry a backpack instead of packing luggage and flying overnight and losing sleep. So it's great.
You do have a history of moving around. You were born in London, right? And then you lived in Spain, you lived in LA, New York as well, and Montreal, and now Amsterdam.
Yeah, well, I was young then, so I moved with my parents. So that really had nothing to do with my career. Since my career started, it's really only been Canada and now Amsterdam.
If I ask you, like, where's home, what's the first thing that you think about?
Montreal, actually.
Yeah.
I love Amsterdam, but it definitely feels like, I'll always have a part in Montreal, and when I go home, I hook up with my friends there, and it just feels really like home for me. And I still say sometimes I miss home, even though Amsterdam's definitely my home at the moment. It's been a year and a half. I feel totally comfortable there. I'm not homesick, but I think Montreal will always be the place that I will consider sort of my number one spot.
What do you think living in other different parts of the world and traveling as much as you do right now has given you as a person?
Everything. I think anyone that travels, there's a great quote, and it's the world is a book, and if you've never traveled, you've only read one page. And it's like we get to experience, having dinner with promoters in Macedonia and hearing about what they went through, hearing stories of, tanks rolling down the streets and things that in Canada and the US and England, like we never ever had to experience. So that's just one example, but traveling all over the world and talking to people from different cultures and learning how they perceive, our world or Western culture, and realizing that they see it completely different than we think they see it because the media is controlling everything around the world. And so it's really eye-opening to see how compartmentalized each country is in their impression of what other countries are doing. And for me, it's shaped, and I think every DJ could say this, I'm sure Nate will say the same, we've grown so much as people from traveling and eating the food and experiencing the culture and talking to people and meeting people from different, every different country. I've been to 71 countries now around the world, so only another, I think, 150 to go, and I'll have the whole world down. But yeah, the perspective you get from traveling to me is everything that shapes you as a person.
If we go back to music, to me, you sort of had the classical DJ background, starting off with the open to close sets. How much do you think that has meant to you right now, starting off as an open to close DJ like that?
Also everything. As a DJ, I think, what you see now is a lot of guys that have never played more than 90 minutes, and that to me is not the essence of DJing, the art form of DJing. If you go and see someone like, John Digweed or Danny Howells or Dubfire or, anyone that grew up a while ago as a DJ, you really get to experience that full journey and that full wave of music over the course of hours. And that's what DJing is to me. Hearing, I remember being on the dance floor and there was, John Digweed and countless other people on the dance floor while Danny Tenaglia is playing a 10-hour set at Space in Miami. And then, you get to experience such a different wave of music over the course of a long set that you never get in a 1 hour or 90-minute set. So I feel honored to have had that chance to start off as a DJ like that. And also, I didn't just play house music. I was playing,
Yeah, you even played reggae, right?
Yeah, I played, I was a top 40 DJ. So we played everything from R&B, hip-hop, reggae, like whatever was popular, along with some house music. And I was playing the, 90s Euro dance and all that. And you really get an idea for how things work. And you take that into the studio, too, because you know what makes people move over the course of a night. And I think that's what shaped the production so differently now, is that guys are playing short sets and they only know that instant impact that a big drop has. So they go in the studio and they're making that. They're not making a song thinking of a 6-hour journey that you might take people on. So it's just two really different forms of the art form. And I was lucky enough to grow up with the long set. And now we've obviously brought it back to that this year. And it's been really successful.
I think the open to close sets also have a big impact on how diverse you are right now in music, right?
It's worked against me a little bit from that perspective. I mean, I love it, but it's when you're doing just the hour and a half, festival sets, it's easy to keep it all trancey. When you start doing 6-7 hours, I can't play 132 BPM trance all night. So I ended up, branching out more into progressive and techno and tech house and deeper stuff. And that actually kind of inspired me in some of those directions, which led to a bit more diversity in my sound, which inevitably leads to a little bit of confusion with, fans. And then the production gets influenced and different. And people are like, well, is he trance? Is he techno? What is it? But at the end of the day, like the people who come to the extended sets know that they're going to hear that hour of trance in the middle, and they're going to hear the build up to it and the cool down after it. So it's been working really well.
But to me, your diversity also makes you real. It makes you authentic because you do what you want to do, right?
It does, but I think you appeal to a smaller group, a group that understands what you just said. And then you have the people that only like trance that unfortunately might not come because they don't want to hear anything other than trance. Yeah. So where they would come to hear me do a 2-hour guest spot, they won't necessarily come and hear me do a 4 or 6 hour set because they're like, I don't want to sit through 2 hours of techno waiting for, but to me it all fits. It's all part of a story. You don't want to see a 2-hour love scene in a movie. You want to see a chase scene, a love scene, some drama like that. For me, it all fits together to tell the whole story. So it works against you a little bit, but at the end of the day, I'll always put the artist before the businessman and before the marketing, and it works against me sometimes, but I'm always happiest. So,
yeah, because you want. There's a quote from you where you said that.
You've done your homework. I'm impressed.
You're a musician. You're not a product, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I said exactly that, but I would always agree with that. Like I've always had my management get upset with me in the sense that I had a manager 6 or 8 years ago who was like, you need to be part of one scene and have that scene build behind you. For example, back then it was, Richie Houghton's techno, Paul Van Dyk is trance. So it's like, where do you fit? Roger Sanchez's house. And I was kind of like, well, I play a little bit from here. And he's like, then you're never going to get that push behind you, and you're never going to grow within that. And I said, well, that unfortunately, I accept.
This is who you are, right? Or...
Yeah, I accepted it years ago, and I decided it was always better to take the direction of making myself happy as an artist rather than cut out everything to focus on one thing to make more money or to be a more famous DJ or have a bigger profile or whatever. So, again, management who looks into the money, they're like, well, it's a mistake. But for me as an artist, I'm happy. So.
And as a person, right? It gives you,
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as an artist, a person are basically the same thing for me. Like, I have to be happy every time I play, and I've gone through periods when I'm not, and I quit the business for a year. But I think Nate went through this with Psytrance, and you have to be inspired, you have to be excited, you have to feel like it's the right thing for you to do. For me anyway, I guarantee there's some DJs up there who are playing music they don't like because they think it's the right thing to do for financial reasons or whatever. But I just can't bring myself to ever do that. I have to be happy, I have to be inspired, and I have to feel like what I'm playing is feeds my soul. It's like cliches, but it's true.
If we talk about more musical diversity, the Evil ID It's a special track, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I made it not thinking anyone was really going to like it. Like I had made a few vocal tracks, Sun in the Winter, Nothing Else Matters, and I was kind of focusing those on appealing to the crowd that I was playing for. As you do, you want to make tracks that work on your dance floor. And then I thought, you know what, this one I'm going to make something that's completely different. And I'm not sure if people will like it, but I'm going to make something for myself to play. And FYC was a bit of the same. Like FYC wasn't a hit by any means compared to Sun in the Winter and Nothing Else Matters, but it was a track that I played more than any of my others, almost. I played it every set for ages because it was something that was just for me. And a lot of DJs related to it, and a lot of DJs didn't. And Evil ID was kind of the same thing. I thought, you know what, a lot of guys aren't going to like this. It's a bit dark, it's a bit evil, and it's not really everyone, or not everyone, I take that back. A lot of guys were kind of jumping on the progressive house, main stage EDM, and I was like, I'm just going to make something completely for me and not try to fit into...
Something classic Max Graham, right?
Well, yeah, I guess so. And it ended up being, the most successful record I've had in the past few years. So,
like, how hard was it? Because I know you had trouble signing it. Armada kind of frowned upon it at first, right?
Well, I wouldn't say I had trouble signing it because obviously in Armada and I have a great relationship through Rebrand. I mean, there was never a question of whether it would come out, but at first they were like, we don't know about this one, it's a little, it's not happy and people want happy music. And I went, all right, let me go back, play it on the radio show a couple times. And then I took screenshots of the tweets where people were like, what is this song, So I showed them the screenshots, and I'm like, we have to put this out. We're going to put this out, whether you guys like it or not. They were like, all right, we'll see. And it ended up, of course, we took They Let Me Gamble, and I won that argument. So I think, it was cool. It showed that, it really doesn't matter. You don't have to fit a formula. You don't have to hit a format. You can make something that's true to yourself and can connect with people, whether it's the trendy sound or not, And what I like about this, and again, Nate went through this with his album, was the tracks I made for myself ended up being the more successful ones versus the ones that you try to make to appeal to other people. As soon as you do that, you lose the essence of your real talent, I think. But if you just let it flow and do something 100% for yourself, that usually connects with people more. And we've seen that happen many times, so it's pretty cool.
How hard and how important is it to believe in yourself like this? Because I know sometimes when stuff doesn't work, it's hard to believe in yourself 24/7, but how hard is it?
It's really tough. I mean, you definitely go through, we've been doing this a while now, so I kind of know when to tell myself to shut up, But it's easy to go through periods where, like 2008, 2009, I didn't like what I was playing, I didn't like what I was making, I was trying to make music that wasn't me just to sort of fit, and I was kind of panicking a little bit, and that everything falls apart when you do that, and that leads to a lack of self-confidence. And you really need confidence. You need confidence when you're DJing, when you step up there. You need to look and feel and act like that's exactly where you need to be. And I mean, I do DJing, I'm super comfortable, but in the studio I struggle, and it's easy to go through a long period of not feeling like your head is on the right, screwed on right, and in the right direction. And I've definitely gone through that. And I'm happy to say currently I'm not going through that. I feel really good right now. I feel the last, couple of years has been amazing, and the Open to Closes and the new concept and Cycles Radio is doing really well. And having a radio show is really confidence building because, seeing that grow and people joining each week and commenting on that gives you that little confidence ego boost every week, so that's good. You don't have a chance to really doubt yourself, but I think confidence when you're making music is really important. You need to just let it flow, and you need to, if you have self-doubt, then it's just not going to work out.
Speaking of cycles, I hear that's sort of both of our highlight of the week. I mean, I know what it gives me. It gives me an incredible musical journey, but what does the radio show give you? I mean, what we just touched here?
Well, a few things. First, it keeps me on top of the music because I'm forced every Monday to go through all my promos, all the shopping websites like Beatport, and really make sure I have all the new music, edit it down to the way I want it, and have it ready to play. Whereas when I didn't have the radio show, I might check my promos every 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and then you end up skipping through because there's just too many records to listen to. Now it's like every Monday morning, bang, I'm up early, I have my espresso, and I start going through the music. And that's helped my DJing because now I'm more on top of the new music. I'm more up front than some other DJs, who are sort of relying on the Beatport Top 10. And I'm really forced to, if I want to keep the show fresh, I have to force myself to be on top of it. So the show itself obviously has been huge. It's really allowed me to test things out, try out music, and feel out what works and what doesn't. And the reaction has been so much bigger than I thought it would be. Cycles has grown so much. And now, I played in Vietnam last year, and they had made Cycles Radio homemade T-shirts. And I was just like, how far we've come, So it's super cool to see people attached to it and react to it. And I think that's also why I'm happy I did it every week on the same time, because we can develop that community around tuning into it. So, for me, it's becoming more and more about Cycles for me, like as what I build around and the way we go forward.
And I know you even plan your flights after the radio show, right? Or as much as you can.
I have to. If I can choose an early flight and get home in time to be online for the show, I will. But lucky for me, Tuesday is not really much of a travel day, but there's times I can't do it. But I would like to always try to be online for the show, definitely.
So
Horticulture got me another beer, so we can continue this interview.
If we go through your different roles, like artistically and musically, being a DJ, a producer, a radio host, and a label owner, label boss, how do you manage time?
That's a tough one. I'm pretty organized now. I'm pretty structured. The label boss part isn't too much because Armada does most of the back end. I just do the A&R. And that's me having a conversation with Solid Stone or Nate, sort of about where we're going to go. And the radio show takes up a lot of time, and you kind of manage it. Like now we live in bed with our laptops. Like there's always time to be doing something, and and traveling a lot, having a laptop with me. We're always working. I'm really inspired right now, and I'm really feeling good about Rebrand and Cycles and myself, and and being inspired by different sounds. So that all leads to the work feeling easy, So managing it all is just feels right now. I'm not feeling overworked, and things aren't slipping. And I have a good social team that runs. I do all my own social for all the Max Graham channels, but for Rebrand and Cycles, well, for Cycles I do the track list myself now. But for like Rebrand's Instagram, Rebrand's Facebook, that's done by other people. So I can delegate a little bit off to other people. But, I also am a bit of a control freak. So I think you want it to be your language and your words. So I like to do as much as I can by myself. But
I'm about to let you go here because today you're playing the legendary Street Parade.
Yes.
You're playing back-to-back with Protoculture and Nate. Yeah. How much does he mean to you, both musically and as a friend?
Well, he's part of the Rebrand family, but he's not just a part. I would say he's, he is as much Rebrand as I am. And I can't say that for the other artists. He's really sort of, we became good friends after I heard a song of his and messaged him on Facebook and said, who are you? What is this? Let's have a chat. And I'm like, this is the sound I'm looking for. This is also the sound that I want to create. So he helped me with a couple of records because I'm not a good finisher. I'm a good designer. Like I can arrange and make music. But so he helped me with that, and we just naturally hit it off. And then I don't remember how the first tag team came about. It was Mexico, right? But how did we come up with that idea? It was Alda, yeah. It was basically Armin came up with the idea, why don't you guys tag team? We were sort of like, okay. And that one we planned out and we sort of choreographed it because you have to with a live broadcast because you can't like go over 5 minutes. And yes, it was ASOT in Ibiza, and we actually met the first night that we tagged.
Yeah, you played the first night.
Yeah, and we instantly got along. Like we've both been through, a similar. We both sort of old school in the scene, and we've been through similar experiences with, learning different styles of music, and so we could relate a lot. and we just hit it off personality wise. And I would say that the way we figured out to work together came together in India when we would do like a 3-hour set, but we'd do 20 minutes each. So it'd be like 4 tracks, because we're quite different musically. Like I play a lot of his stuff, he plays some of my stuff, but we are quite different musically. Like he DJs in key, I really don't. I mean, I kind of freestyle a little bit more, and so Nate has tracks that he plays that I don't play, and vice versa. So it was better than going back to back and sort of pulling constantly. We decided to do 20 minutes so I can kind of build up into one of my peak tracks, and then he can build up, and it worked so well. And it was also nice to have like the constant breaks. Like you get to hear someone else play. It was really cool. And so now we don't plan anything anymore. We just freestyle every time. And the best gig we had was the most recent one, which was Tomorrowland. We closed... sorry, there's a Ferrari about to take off in front of us. So we closed the Trans-Addict tent. We basically closed the festival, didn't we? We closed Tomorrowland in that tent. And it was packed, and it was insane. And we just we started at 140. Sean Tice was playing before us, and then by the second track we were at 136, and we brought it right down over the course of the hour to 126, and just mixed it up and had a great time. So, we get along well. We admire each other's production. We play each other's music, and the tag teams now have become so natural that it's really great. We're actually talking about doing some interesting stuff next year, so I can't talk about it yet, but always looking for new angles and building on what we already have.
So how do you look upon the future right now for Max Graham?
I have to be honest, I've never been more organized and planned out for the future in my career as I am right now. We're looking already a year ahead, basically. And that's a testament to, I think, Cycle's growth, which has helped my profile, and the production and the open to close. We've been able to raise the profile enough that it's not like hoping I get a gig in 2 months. Like we have the gigs for next month, but we're hoping the month after that we get some gigs. Now it's like we're planned, 6 months ahead, 8 months ahead, which is such an amazing feeling where you can get organized and not be rushing and not...
what's happening. Too, right?
Yeah, what's happening. Like we're already planning, the Cycles 2016. Wow, that's a little too far ahead. The Cycles 2015 tour, we did 2014. We already know what we're going to do for January, February, and March. So we can start planning, artwork, concept, visuals, flyers, merchandise, like the bracelets that we gave out for free at every event. We gave out bracelets for free at every event. So that kind of thing, like we want to, we can always step up. And now it's not like, next month, the CD's coming out, so I have to rush. It's now we know it's going to be January. We have 6 months to plan it. So it feels really good. Like we have, Australia and, these different tours planned. And I it's a bit of a dream come true, even 15 years into DJing, that I can actually say, like, I can plan 6 months ahead now. And we have promoters that are like, whenever you're ready, we'll take it. Not us... when your profile is smaller, you're kind of hoping a slot will open up, Now it's like we're in a different position. So the future feels great. I mean, we're going to keep building Cycles. I'm going to keep making, what I hope is a combination of trance and techno. I'm kind of being influenced by techno, but I want to keep it trancey. And, I'm sure there's going to be more tag teams with Nate and more concepts and more ideas to come. I'm Max Graham. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys very soon.